Well, good morning, everybody. Travels with Dottie here, and Dottie is here. Where are you, Dottie? There's Dottie. And George is down there. Both have been acclimating almost as well as me to this big space. I got to tell you what's on my mind today is, boy, it's going to be hard to leave this. Oh, did you notice my red suspenders? I'm still adjusting them. They're really hard to adjust for some reason. Really hard, and I've got to figure that out. But I like the red ones, match with the red glasses. Somebody suggested that in the comments. And so I'm going to buy blue ones too, I think. As a matter of fact, let's go take a look at... I finally... my buddy, author Deborah Dickinson, as you know her channel, she and I have known each other for like 30 years. She has an Amazon link and she's been bugging me forever. Why don't you buy all the stuff on Amazon? Why don't you do it through my link? I'll get a little commission. And finally, I set it up. So it's there. And if you want to do it, go to her author Deborah Dickinson or just Deborah Dickinson and look into her. I think it's in the About section of her YouTube channel. It gives you the link where you can... I just set up a little shortcut. You see on my phone, it's the black box with the D in it is my Deborah Dickinson Amazon. So I'm going to go in there, go into my orders, track and manage orders, look into the suspenders, click on those and see if there's a blue option. Okay. There is no blue option, so I'll have to search elsewhere for blue ones. Anyway, that made me completely lose my train of thought. Oh, look, who's making an appearance. Hey, George. Hey, kitty, kitty. Hey, kitty. There's George. All right, so where was I? Big expense coming, I think. Well, before I get to that, I was saying how it's going to be hard for me, like when I go to Eagle Nest this summer, to leave this luxurious space and be back full time in the trailer. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I'm just wondering. Heck, this is just so, it feels like I'm in a mansion. It's so great. There's two big sort of expense things coming. One is a repair, and that's going to be for my slide. My slide is making bad noises going in and out, and I know that if you ignore that, you're going to get stuck with it open or half closed, and it'll be a nightmare. So I'm going to bite the bullet and have somebody come out, order the parts, and replace what needs to be replaced. It's a Schwinn-Tech, and you can see my buddy. I took pictures from my buddy Daryl, and he showed me where there were scarring marks on the Schwinn-Tech guides, and that's just stuff has to be replaced. So I'm going to try to do that in the next week or so. And the next big one is going to be when I go back to Quartzsite. I'm going to go to Solar Bills, and I'm going to have him revamp my solar system. I'm happy with the batteries, but I have some flex panels. I've got, I think, 540 or so, let's see, 540 watts of solar on flex panels on the roof that are now, it'll be 4 years old. And they're just not performing very well. I need real solar panels up there. So I want them to replace those solar panels on the roof and attach them in some way that's not going to compromise the integrity of my roof. And also, I want to move the batteries are on a big, long metal device on the tongue, and I want to move them back to the big compartment in the back. And I know that's moving from that weight from the front to the back is a little problematic, but The batteries don't weigh that much, and I'll be transferring storage things that are heavy back to that open space that is created up there. And so I'll have to change how everything's wired. Plus, I want to get rid of my Renogy inverter and put in a multi-plus from Victron. And this is the main point of what that in itself is $1,000. And it's a inverter converter charger, and that'll take a lot of wiring. But here's the cool thing that it does that I really, really like. It will combine your solar that you're getting in with the grid, and it'll prioritize the solar. So you use less grid power. Like, you know, in the little house here, I have metered electric, and it's inexpensive, but I can make it even more inexpensive if I'm using solar power first and then fall back to the grid where I pay per kilowatt hour. So I'm going to guess, if I had to guess, I'm going to say that's going to cost me $3,000 or $4,000. The repair to the slide, I'm going to guess around $1,000, but it could be as high as $2,000. I have no idea, but I'll be saving that has to be done right away. That's a repair. The other thing doesn't have to be done until the fall, and I'll be saving my pennies for that thing. But it'll pay for itself, I think, especially since I've got here where I've got metered electric, and then this year in Quartzsite, I'm going to be probably in an RV park with metered electric. So it'll pay for itself, I think, in a couple of years. I hope. Well, maybe it'll take 5 years. I don't know. But even if it takes a long time, it makes me feel good that I can really substantially reduce my electrical grid usage. So those are my plans going forward for big expenses. And then, of course, there's going to be the unplanned expenses, right? You know, I like to think about what are the components in my trailer that can fail that'll cost money, and virtually everything in my trailer the cost is readily identifiable. I think that the most expensive component I have is my two-way refrigerator, propane and electric refrigerator. You know, that's $2,800 to $3,000 plus installation. I'm not going to be putting it in myself and taking the old one out. So we're talking about $2,500 to $3,000 to replace that refrigerator. Or I could go with buy a 12-volt refrigerator, and for less than $1,000, and have someone come in and take out the old one and wire things up for the 12-volt. Which is probably what I would do. It's a lot less money, and I have enough solar so I can keep a 12-volt refrigerator going just fine. What else? Starlink. Starlink, you know, for a while I was so happy and kind of bragging that I had a grandfathered plan that was a residential plan with roaming. So I think I was pegged at $145 a month. And I had a home base, and my home base was Quartzsite. And the reason for that is when I get down to Quartzsite, because it was my home base, I'd have higher priority than the people that are using sort of the roaming Starlink. Well, they sent me a letter this year and said, your grandfather is coming to an end. You're going to be automatically moved to the roaming, which is... I'm paying, what am I paying? $160? I think it's $160 a month. Is it $160? $165? I think it's $160. The good news is, unlike my residential plan, I can pause it. So at the house here, at the little house, I could probably get like fiber optic, something like that, but I don't know whether I can turn that on or off. I'll have to look into that. if I can, I'll get it here. And I'll be here probably 3 months in the spring and 3 months in the fall, something like that. So like September, October, well, maybe I need to think this through. So if I stay in Quartzsite until February, I'd be here March, April, May, and maybe June. So 4 months in the spring, and then September and October. So that gives me 6 months in my residence, which is probably pretty safe for being a resident, being here 6 months out of the year. But if I could turn off, if I can, and I think people told me the fiber optic is like $80 a month. If you can turn that on and off, that's half the cost of the Starlink. So maybe I'll be able to save some money there. I'm not sure. We'll see. A lot of times when you get internet services, you're committed to, every month, day in and day out. So it may not be feasible for me. We'll see. I don't even really know the company name that does it. So when I figure that out, I'll share that with you. What else? Like I said, people were worried about George. I was worried about George being able to acclimate here. But George really loves this big space as much as Dottie and I do. And it's funny. I've mentioned this before. God, I got to mention it again because it's so strange. So I've had George for 8 years, since George was a brand new kitten. All right. And when George was a kitten, he used to like climb on me and stuff and lay on my lap. But as soon as the kitten phase went, he didn't do that anymore. I'd try to pick him up and put him on my lap watching TV, and he'd last about 10 seconds and be gone. No sitting on my lap. However, being here, sitting on this couch, he's on my lap every single day. And Dottie at first didn't like it, but what Dottie does is she sort of sneaks over and puts her head on my leg. So I've got a picture here I'll put up here of what they're like on my lap, which I don't mind at all. It's just very odd that because George doesn't seem stressed at all, even when he's puttering around here. He's got a little hidey place like he does in the trailer that he uses, but mostly he's out here. There's a little bed for him that he stays in. He goes out on the porch. But the weird thing is he's sitting on my lap like that. It's just weird. After 8 years, he's doing that. So if any of you have any ideas, people that really know cats can tell me what changed in that little cat mind where he wants to be sitting in my lap a lot. Now he does at night. He usually sleeps a good part of the night beside me on the bed. He hops up and lays next to my leg, and half the time I wake up and he's gone, and half the time I wake up and he's there. He kind of wanders around. Cats are pretty nocturnal. And with the exception of this morning, bringing him back and forth between here and the trailer, it's just they're right next to each other. The trailer's right there. He's been out and about in the trailer, and I just quietly pick him up and walk over here. Today I had to wrangle him from his hidey hole to get over here, but once he got here, he was fine. But most days, I'd love to so he would just follow me out and walk behind me and come in here. Maybe that'll happen someday. I don't know. But both animals seem to love it here as much as I do. I tell you, it doesn't look like much. I get that, but for me, it's luxury. Whoever built this place, I don't know how many years ago it was. It's hard to tell because I think they've used repurposed sort of boarding on the inside, but they insulated the heck out of this place because it can be hot, and I can have the AC and the 15,000 BTU AC in the trailer racing to keep up with the heat, and I come in here and it's 72 degrees. Why did you bark? Dottie barked. Were you barking at the kitty? Why were you doing that? That was weird. I don't know why Dottie barked. George was just kind of walking by. Do you want to see George? There, you can kind of see George. Hey, George. Hey, kitty, kitty. Lost my train of thought again. What the heck was I talking about, guys? Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. I totally lost it. I'll laugh when I do the editing. Today's Saturday, and it is 9 o'clock in the morning. I did my positive news video. Here's a regular. I did skip. Did you guys notice I skipped a long video day? I didn't do one yesterday. I just didn't feel like it. And today I'm thinking, I should do one. I don't know what to do. So I just decided I'll turn on the camera and talk about whatever comes into my head. And this has gone, I think, pretty well. I mean, I've had stuff to say. I'm trying to think about what else is going on. When am I going to Eagle Nest? Sometime in June. I don't know exactly when. A lot depends on how my leg and hip, I say how my hip feels, but throughout the whole thing, any discomfort I had, I would not describe any of it as being in what you would think of as the hip joint. It's all been referred pain, back, leg, and which is why when I first started having this excruciating pain over 2 years ago, I had no idea it was my hip. I thought there was something wrong with my leg and my back. I had no idea it was my hip until I went to someone who did an x-ray and said, there's your problem. And sure enough, they were right. Because I have discomfort now, but it's not the same discomfort I had before. It's right now it's mostly being tired and restricted range of motion, which in the range of motion is gradually getting better and better every day. And I will have to confess, one of the things that I have not done well in the past few days is I need to walk more, and I think I need to get on. Read in several places, bike riding is especially good for working things out. So I'll do a little bit of bike riding, maybe today, and try to get a little bit more exercise going. That's important. But day after tomorrow, it'll be, I think, 5 weeks, right? Is it 5 or 6? Got to look at so I got to look at the calendar. I need to hit month. Okay, I had it the 17th. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it 6? I think it's going to be 6 weeks. Wow. Because it'll be the 28th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. It'll be 6 weeks on Monday since the surgery. That's amazing how that time went so fast. It went really slow a couple days before and really slow in that week after, and then things really took off. But if you're interested in hip replacement, you're going to have one and you're nervous about it, go to my playlist, and there's like a ton of videos designed to show you day by day what it was like for me, starting the day before surgery, the day of surgery, the day after. I did a lot of videos on showing and telling you what it was like for me. Now, keep in mind, the experience I'm giving you is the experience of one person, and everybody has differences on how they react to the surgery and how they recover. Just understand that you're not talking to a orthopedic surgeon here. You're talking to a patient that had one procedure, and I have one point of view about what happened. But it may be, if anything, I hope it will reduce the anxiety people have, especially if you've never had any surgery before. It can be very intimidating to be wheeled into an operating room with all these people and lights and computers and stuff, and know that you're going to be unconscious, and it's frightening, but it doesn't need to be. You need to, part of the education might be to watch my videos and watch, there are plenty of videos out there that orthopedic surgeons do to talk about what they're doing, how they're doing it, what to expect. There's lots of resources out there in addition to what I did. So what else? I'm so excited. Charlie and Diane, I hope you're watching this, to be with my friends Charlie and Diane up in Eagle Nest this summer. It's going so fast. It's I think Charlie's going to be up around the 1st of June. I may be a week or so behind him. I think Diane is not coming out right away, but she'll be out in a couple weeks. I don't remember what, but anyway, I just love Eagle Nest so much. If you haven't seen my videos from last summer, you'll be seeing plenty of them this summer. It is, you stand in front of where I'm staying, and you look 360 degrees, and you're completely surrounded by mountains and a huge lake. It's gorgeous. And it's in New Mexico, northern New Mexico. And as the crow flies, it's just 30 miles directly south of the Colorado border. So a lot of people jokingly refer to it as poor man's Colorado, because once you get into Colorado, things in many places are very, very expensive and very touristy and built up. And this is not. Eagle Nest is a village. It's a beautiful little village with really nice places to stay and nice places to eat. A little town square, where not a town square, but like a public park where they have all sorts of events all summer long. What I'm really looking forward is the famous 4th of July celebration they have. They have a beautiful parade in town and fireworks over the lake, which I can't wait to see. So that'll be some exciting stuff coming down the road. And if you heard me say I'm going to stay in an RV park in Quartzsite, you may be thinking, what are you doing, Rob? You're the boondocking guy. You got all the solar. How come you're not boondocking? Well, I'm not giving up on boondocking whatsoever. However, it'll be my 4th year in Quartzsite for the season. And first 3 I stayed in the same spot in La Posa South, boondocking. And this year I want to try the different perspective. And I suspect that a lot of things will be very different for me staying in town in an RV park. And I want to experience that. And I'd like to share it with you so you can see what the differences are. So you can make an informed decision about, 1, do I want to go to Quartzsite at all? 2, do I want to boondock, or do I want to be in an RV park? Did you know there are over 50 RV parks in the little town of Quartzsite, Arizona, that has a population of around 2,600 people? 50 RV parks. I'm not exaggerating. Somewhere I even have a list of them. Amazing. So that's pretty much everything that's... I did sell my membership to Preferred RV Resort. I'm going to miss that place. I really love it, but it was, I'm not going to blow anyone's cover, but it ended up by coincidence being a viewer of the channel who ended up knowing a friend of mine that is in the park and has a membership, and I was able to give the Travels with Dottie discount, and I hope that person is very happy with their purchase. So anyway, that's it for today's video. Dottie and I and George will see you all. I'm looking for George. I don't know where George is now. Where are you, George? Don't know. Hiding now. Hiding spot. See you tomorrow.